Good afternoon and welcome to the VMware and Tech9labs session. We thank you for your time and we look forward to hosting you for the next 1 hour or so. Our topic for today is extend on-prem vSphere environment to the cloud. You can post your questions in the questions box throughout the presentation and we would respond to them after Amit and Vikram's presentations. Our first speaker for the day is Amit Jain, MD and Chief Executive Officer, Tech9labs. We thank you once again for your time for joining us. Over to you, Amit.
Yeah, thanks, Ashwata. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, on a virtual meeting, we have been interacting all these while on the virtual event. And since I could see still few of the people joining in, so I think if I could request for 1 or 2 minutes of halt, and so that at least we have more, people could join in. I'm expecting some more people. But in the meantime, yes, we can, in the meantime, I can at least thank you so much for you all, especially, during COVID times, and also with so many of webinars on the calendar, which has been there. And also, unfortunately, whatever you call it for today, post lunch, what we have called you onto the webinar to really invite you to be a little serious post lunch. So, but as we have always been bringing certain technologies for such webinars, I can't keep the format of webinar as exciting, but I can certainly keep the technologies and the topic as exciting as possible, so that we could really, make sense of our presence and value your time for this entire, hour. So I think we are still expecting some more. I'll not take more than a minute. I think let's hold for 1 more minute. And I would also have my another friend Vikram, who would also be taking you through the entire technology piece, and making you aware of what VMware is doing with AWS and other cloud providers, and how are they making life easier for their customers, and also what kind of technologies which is making ease and which is making more relevance during these COVID times, and even post COVID, which will certainly be more relevant. So this is where Vikram would probably be helping us to bring up those insights around. And I think now I can start my session. So again, good afternoon, everyone. And my name is Amit. I have interacted with most of you already, but again, thank you so much for being there. And whenever we host such webinars, I really see good attendance all around, and it is really, it is so great to see you all every time that you spare your time on our calls, and you guys are just a call away from all these. Again, business continuity is a challenge. We all know we have been all struggling for last 5-6 months. However, a lot of things have started. People have started moving around, but still, things have not really normalized as what we expected. When the things really started in the month of March, April, we were all thinking that September or maybe August, maybe the month where we might start the things. But as we all look here, probably next 6 months still seems to be damn challenging. I think still Indian markets are doing good. Share Sensex is also like okay, keeping all of us alive. We could only have 23% degrowth on GDP. However, it can be even worse, but still I think we all managed. So I think we are also party to all these whatever degrowth success you call it, but at least we are. And but as a technologist, as part of the technology and information industry, I think after doctors and probably the health workers, if somebody has really to be appreciated well, probably is all you guys. You really kept the entire industry alive. You kept all these businesses alive, and you could really ensure that you guys work 24/7. Your team works 24/7. and you ensure that whatever disruption this corona and COVID has really created, probably with the help of technology and with the help of all your planning, all your designs, what you've done all these years, could really sustain the entire business operations. And again, thank you so much for this. And I think we really kept the entire world alive with all our technologies, with our thought processes, our learnings, our innovative strategies, and so on and so forth. But the situation is not yet over. I think with COVID-19 even taking up for next 6 to 8 months, probably we all see, unless and until we see the vaccines come over. And then with the China warlike situations, probably I don't know what's gonna really happen, but anyways, the disruptions are there. A lot of geopolitical issues which is all happening around, and all these disruptions is really with every day we have been like keeping pace with all these situations, be it planned or be it unplanned. I think business continuity is something which we have all learned of since we have been planning business continuity for all these years, but we never really got a chance to really implement it. And now COVID has really taught us the actual practical situations and practicality of technology deployments and actually making sense in the business times. So I was just going through with some of the researchers and some of the third party, and the Gartner mentioned that only 12% of the organizations across the globe were prepared to handle the pandemic like COVID. Just imagine the 88% did not even think of, and probably even if they have thought of, I mean, the technologies preparedness or maybe business operations and maybe business processes, and these were really not thought of well, and there where the lot of disruption and a lot of things started happening. What could be the challenges, what all challenges we really faced? I also took little note about it for this particular for this particular session. I could really even go through some of the other third parties like Accenture, and they mentioned that with under their surveys, and they mentioned that 76% of executives agrees that organization need to dramatically re-engineer the experience that bring people and technologies together and to more human-centric manner. And despite we wanted to bring technology more upfront, but still the human really has to really take care of it. We cannot let technologies take over. And there where our innovation, our thought processes, our automation thought processes, intelligence has really need to govern the technologies, and we really have to bring this together. And I had always believed it that technology was never a barrier. Even pre-COVID times, we had enough technologies, on the plate, but I think it was always a mental barrier. We never thought of implementing it. We never thought of whether this could really happen this way. And we were just thinking that probably things could really, we could make some work around things and we could really take it up. And there where we did not really put in so much of our effort at times, or maybe seriousness all around, and there where things really disrupted so high. But now I think this lesson would really be important for all these time to come now, and we would certainly be more mentally prepared to adopt technologies and get those implemented in the better run. So why do we need to take actions now? It is so important that during the crisis, the business operations have become even more critical, even before, and all these departments across industries are severely disrupted, where almost like 75 to 80% of Fortune 500 companies, okay, who are like hell lot of cash in hand, okay, using shared services for their business processes. And that's what, again, as per the Accenture and Gartner and Forrester, what I could really get to know that almost 75% of Fortune 500 companies have been outsourcing their processes, and even using a shared services. So shared services means a cloud-like service or something of that sort, what they actually believed in, and they actually got onto this piece. But still they need to reassess that situation again, and they have to really rethink and re-engineer the entire thought process. And this is the best time to leverage, no doubt about it. I think COVID has really taught us everybody. So we actually have to think through altogether. And all these 5-6 months, we have also transformed ourselves dramatically. I mean, pre-COVID was our pre-Tech9 era, and post, I mean, during COVID and post-COVID, we would be like a Tech9labs 2.0, what we have really come out to. And we have really come out with a lot of technologies, lot of relevant technologies of the current times and the futuristic thought process. We have also ensured that we bring in a lot of portfolios which make really a lot of relevance at this point in time, and even going forward. We could really embrace with consulting so much that we could set up a roadmap for you guys, engage with you in more empathetic way, where we can really bring in a consulting thought process to set up a proper technology roadmap, not for meeting the current needs, but also ensuring for a mid term and as well as the long term thought process. And some of our learning I would really want to share, and I'm sure this would also have been in your companies as well. What I could really learn, one thing, and we really spoke about it in our internal calls, were like develop a empathetic relationship. uh, uh, However, we have always been customer centric people. We have always worked with customers like you, and you have always been so great support to our team, our processes and everything. But we have even thought of being even more empathetic, not just from conceptualizing what we engage on, but also ensuring when we deliver, and then we still keep conceptualizing and keep remaining innovative till the last mile, so that we end up making and delivering value what you are really expecting out of us. Also, another thing what we have done for ourselves and ensuring that we do it for you as well is to enable secure office environment, leading practices and policies. These are very, very important element. Even we are small organizations as compared, but still we have ensured that our practices and policies have absolutely been strengthened, to a very, very great level. We've ensured that all security practices have been implemented within the company, and we also ensure that we do the same for our clients too. One of the great learning which we had during COVID was that be nimble and innovative with latest technologies. However, this has always been one of our key forte when we started our operations in 2011, that we would always be on our latest technologies so that we could keep on creating values for our clients. But even during COVID, we have ensured that we even we pace up the situation of bringing even more latest technologies, even more relevant technologies, even something which could really deliver the value even more than what we were anticipating or maybe expecting. So, and which should be so agile in nature, so that we should really change the situation as the market demands, or maybe as the situation demands. And of course, stay connected is what was my last learning, that we really need to keep talking, keep engaging, keep consulting, so that we learn from each other and ensure that we come out of these crises. Now, I'll not take more than time. I think I've already taken around 10 minutes, but when it comes to VMware, why we are doing this session today was VMware has always been very, very close to me personally, because when I started the operation, the first association I had was VMware. I came from my IBM background, and I had so much to do from an IBM standpoint, but still the first formal association I had was VMware. And I knew that when it comes to virtualization strategy, 2011 was one of the best time, because we just came out of the recession. I mean, we were still struggling in the recession at that point in time, but still 2009-10 recession, we were just emerging out of it. And then that really made a lot of sense for a lot of our customers to really get into a preparation of their next gen technology. And I think cloud was also emerging at that point in time, where the virtualization has really become a key player, a key technology at that point in time to emerge and take up the next step to to cloud situation. And there where we adopted a huge technology certifications, and we had a lot of learnings at that point in time, and ensure that we land up into every kind of virtualization whatever we can, not just limited to the compute virtualization, but also get into storage virtualization, get into desktop virtualization, get into network virtualization, and there where we actually emerged. And VMware has really been a very deep supportive at that point in time, and we really emerged from that time till till today, and we're making a lot of sense with these technology and our partnership together. We have seen a lot of immense success stories with regard to be it server virtualization, be it desktop, be it a lot of security portfolios. And this was pretty new to a lot of people, that VMware certainly got into security platform itself, which was more of an accidental in nature rather, when their NSX technologies really came in and we had the first win. And when we were talking with a client, and client said, oh, I never knew that VMware is into security as well. So, and today they are landing onto almost like top 5 in the world with regard to security thought process and security practices. So with all these, we have really emerged with our relationship with VMware. VMware also have come far with us with a lot of our client deployments and so on and so forth. We have had a lot of certifications. We have had a lot of people who could really have in-house development, in-house deployment strategies, in-house deployment skills, and we have been managing from conceptualizing the entire strategy on virtualization piece till the final managed services layer. So this is where what we have really emerged. And before I give the baton to Vikram, last thing to all of my clients again, thank you so much that you have really spared your time for today, and I will ensure that this technology really makes sense to you in the COVID times to really keep you even more nimble and agile and adopt without investing much or maybe wasting much, or maybe I ensure that the investment protection is kept all these whiles when you really understand this technology better. So this is where the thought process of TCO and ROI always govern my thought process, and that's what I brought this technology over to you today. So thank you so much once again. And Vikram, welcome. Vikram Khanna is the one who is a VMware Cloud on AWS specialist. He's a good friend. He has been very vocal about this technology in the market, and a lot of customers to whom we have been really discussing together, we are really making sense. So I hope with this particular session we could again deliver the same emotions all around. Over to you, Vikram.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your wisdom and your insight on the market. It really is amazing, how depth knowledge you have about the market. It's really amazing. I hope you can see my screen. My screen is visible to all, right? Before I go any further, can somebody confirm, please?
Yeah,
Yes, Vikram, we can. Thank you.
Okay, you're visible. Great. Thank you. So, hi, my name is Vikram, and I am the Cloud Solution Architect for VMware Cloud on AWS. And today I'm going to take you to a journey where whatever Amit spoke about, I'm going to stitch it all together with technology, with the technology solution. Now, this VMware Cloud on AWS is basically a jointly developed solution between a leading hyperscaler and a public cloud provider to deliver a true hybrid cloud offering where our customers can not just easily move the workloads in and out of AWS regions, but also use the native power of all the 190 plus services in conjunction with their existing infrastructure. But this is a very bold statement to make, and in upcoming slides, I'm going to prove these statements and how, in reality, we have made this come true. Now, if you look at VMware Cloud on AWS, just a service overview. Primarily, VMware Cloud on AWS is basically running bare metal servers on which we already have installed our beautiful vSAN, vSphere, and NSX features. And all of this is basically sold, managed, and operated entirely by VMware. So, literally speaking, there's only one person to call, and that's VMware for you, for our customers. And this is basically based out of global AWS infrastructure. What I mean by that is basically, the whole solution is actually based out of bare metal servers. So your space, your physical, server space or your virtual server space is never shared among any other customer. you have absolute isolation on the cloud itself. Well, that was one of the major hurdles that I've seen people having moving to cloud security or data privacy. You have absolute data privacy and data security with VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, consider your own data center on your left hand side, which I've tried to. And what if you are an existing customer of VMware? The beauty of all of this is you can move the workloads from your current infrastructure all the way to VMware Cloud on AWS. It is just as easy as probably a few mouse clicks, and that's it. You're done. Having said that, there are multiple networking options which I'm going to be covering in upcoming slides. Now the scenario is if your customer, if our customers are running vSphere on premise, well and good. If they are not, even those workloads we can bring it to the cloud without any problem. So we have that capability as well. And most importantly, with the because this the VMware Cloud on AWS is actually based out of VMware or rather AWS global infrastructure. I can use all of the native services in conjunction with the with VMware Cloud on AWS. So this is not a sort of A plus B sort of scenario. This is actually a scenario which is non-dual nested, which is a very, very reliable portfolio of VMware that we've been offering to our customers since 1998. This thing has been very, very made in such a fashion that it runs for a very, very long time without any problems. Now, some of the capabilities that we often see with which can be solved with VMware Cloud on AWS is basically what VMware is trying to give you is a rich SDDC, as a service given to you as our customers. Now, what we're trying to give you is entire SDDC stack as a service to you. Now, remember just a while back, Amit was talking about, during this pandemic time, or I don't know, in this geopolitical time, procuring servers may be a challenge, and you suddenly want to go ahead and expand to the cloud. Believe me when I say we can make sure that suddenly you can have a burst on the cloud with your existing on-premise data center. We can have that sort of capability as well, and many, many more. And the best part about all of this is because your tech teams are used to VMware technologies and they've seen vCenter and vSphere and they're very comfortable with it. Believe me, if I put them in front of a cloud, VMware Cloud on AWS, 99.9% of the times, out of 100, people will be able to manage and the entire and will be able to operate because it's that similar. vCenter on-prem and vCenter on cloud is absolutely the same. There's not an iota bit of difference, to be very honest with you. That's the beauty. And having said that, it takes me great pride in saying that VMware is the only cloud provider in the world today which can actually support easy workload portability without any sort of re-architecture to the application, without making no changes to the application. So if you have your legacy applications, which you were running on premise and you were happy with that, and tomorrow if you want to make a cloud journey because of, let's say, hardware getting end of life or the lease, probably the data center lease is getting expired, you think about moving to cloud. I can migrate those same non-cloud native applications to the cloud as well. That's the beauty of the solution. With that, I can't emphasize enough, the access to native AWS power, capabilities. So if your applications or your next generation applications require some sort of serverless function, let's say Lambda sort of functions, or do they require any sort of ML or AI-based programs, I can integrate them natively with AWS, capabilities. We can do that. Now, on March 10th, VMware actually announced their Tanzu portfolio. Now, Tanzu is our basically containerized application portfolio. Today, we have the capability to run containers natively on EXSI on the vSphere. Therefore, making sure that your containers now perform up to 40 to 45% or probably 50% faster than running Kubernetes in any other environment. So we have Kubernetes running natively on vSphere now. What that means is today, you have to probably create duplicate environments, to develop an application. For example, you have your prod environment, you have your UAT environment, you have your test or dev environment, and then you have the CI/CD pipeline, for example. Now, usually a mandate would say that you run different sort of service for different sort of environment. What VMware is trying to do is probably on the same cluster, you can have absolute isolations and you can run your applications as and when you want. Moreover, a true definition of a modern application has been derived with this portfolio, with Tanzu portfolio, Tanzu especially on VMware Cloud and AWS portfolio. What we have been able to achieve is on a single namespace, we've been able to run containers like any other Kubernetes service. Also, on the same namespace, if I want, I can run VMs. On the same namespace, if I want to run, let's say, pod and VMs, I can do that as well. So that means that when you take a journey towards modernizing your applications, completely, or you divide your applications into microservices architecture depending on the business logics, you don't have to do everything from the scratch to the end. Maybe, and just maybe, you can you can containerize your web applications. You can use your app tier as VM, the legacy VM that you've been using. It works perfectly. It runs beautifully. Why should I containerize it? If you want, you can use that with that application. Another example, your database. For an example, you're running a database on a vSphere environment, which is huge. And really breaking that database into containerized environment that can cause some serious challenges. No problem. Run the same database on a VM, with the containerized application. So today, we have VMware Cloud and AWS, we are offering with that capability. And having said that, today, VMware has become the second largest contributor to Kubernetes open source after Google itself, who actually created Kubernetes or Cyborg program. We are the second largest contributor to open community today with Tanzu portfolio. Isn't that amazing? Now, some of the another use cases that we often talk about is data center evacuation. I can evacuate your entire data center. For example, if your data center is going out of leads, I can evacuate your entire data center, in a matter of days. I recently did a data center evacuation for a customer who was running hundreds of VMs. And believe me when I say this, I did it over the weekend. And Friday evening, when their employees actually went offline, from that moment till Sunday evening, when or rather Monday morning, when people came in, the only difference that people could say was, I don't know what you did to the network, but your network is performing, or the applications are performing much faster, because we migrated the entire data center. We did an entire DC evac to the cloud over the weekend only. It's that easy. You want to burst out your data center. We have a beautiful use case of data center extension. I can do it in matter of hours for you if you want. I can start a data center extension for you in matter of hours. It's that simple. Data center, disaster recovery. If you don't have a disaster recovery, or you want to have a disaster recovery, I can offer you both, cold and hot sort of disaster recovery, beautiful disaster recovery, wherein you don't have to change your application's code per se. Rather than your team's focusing on changing those applications to make it cloud native ready, I can make the same application, the legacy application that you've been having, I can make it migrate to the cloud and without any problems whatsoever. Believe me, cloud migration is practically as easy as just a few mouse clicks. That's all what it takes for you to migrate the workloads from on-premise to on-cloud, or vice versa, or for that matter, cloud number one to cloud number two. Today, if you go to any public cloud provider and you migrate your applications, or you modernize your application or containerize your applications per one cloud provider, believe me, if you want to move on to the other cloud provider, it's better off that you recreate the entire application. It's just so much task which is involved. With VMware Cloud on AWS, I can shift over the public cloud providers as and when you want. That's the true capability of multi-cloud scenario that we can offer you. True hybrid and multi-cloud offering that we can offer you with our VMware Cloud on AWS portfolio, or what we call VMC. I've already talked much about next generation applications, so I'll not spend much time on that. Now, what we've tried to do is basically take the benefits of, or the agility that you had on local on-premise data center, take the capability of, and the power of public cloud providers, any public cloud provider. I've taken an example of AWS, but you can take any public cloud provider as an example, mix them together, taken out the demerits of all of that solution, only picked up the merits of that solution or the positivity from that solution and deliver you as a service. And how we were able to do that is because VMware Cloud on AWS pre-bundled comes with vSphere, vSAN, and NSX feature. Now, for some of you who may not know these terms, vSphere is a beautiful hypervisor solution that we have. Since 1998, it's been a massive hit. Most of the organizations in some time or the other, have run their workloads on vSphere. It's that stable. vSAN is our beautiful storage portfolio that we have, where we have basically created a HCI sort of storage, capabilities, or much beyond capabilities that we have built into the vSAN architecture. And NSX is our software-defined networking portfolio. Now, NSX is such an agile environment that really, we can bring up the networking part has never been that easy as it is with NSX, on VMware Cloud on AWS, or rather on premise also. But specifically, we'll talk about VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, this is what I was talking about. When you migrate any of your applications from on-premise to any public cloud, you will go through any of these stages. You will have to rehost or re-platform or repurchase or refactor certain applications. You will have to go through any of these stages. Without going through any of these stages, you cannot make an application a cloud-native sort of applications. Now, this may include a scenario where you have to practically refactor the entire application if you want, because you have to decouple or rewrite the application source code. The beauty of VMware is VMware has just come up with a new concept called relocate completely. Pick up any application from on-premise and move it to the cloud. And while moving to the cloud, we can, if your applications, let's take in a scenario of web tier, app tier, and DB tier. Let's say the web tier and app tier and DB tier all are talking to each other over private IP address. Let's say 10.1.1.1.0 subnet, for example. I can maintain the same IP address on the cloud as well. That's the capability. So that means I can lift and shift any workload. It doesn't matter if they are working or not. I can lift and shift any workload and migrate to the cloud during the production hours without zero packet loss. That's the capability that we have brought to the table. Plus, not just the IP address. If you want, you have an application which is based, which has got a license based on, let's say, MAC address or rather hosting. I can make sure that I create the same MAC address or the same hosting on the cloud as well for you while migrating this application. So I can retain the same IP. I can say retain the same MAC or the host name also while migrating the application to the cloud. It's that agile. And this is the capability that we are trying to offer you. Now, what that primarily means. So if you look at any cloud journey, there's a huge amount of cost which is involved, to make a cloud journey possible to any public cloud. I've taken an AWS as an example, but you can take any public cloud for that matter. Because while you are, while you take this journey, your non-cloud native applications needs to become cloud native applications. So that means at the same time, you run duplicate environment. That means your present application, let's say application version 1, which is a non-cloud native application, you continue running it on your on-premise data centers. You take up spaces on a public cloud space. You modernize that application or make that application cloud native, and then you start hosting that out. So at any given point of time, you're running a duplicate environment. What that means is huge cost. There's a lot of cost which is involved to run multiple environments on the same application. And then let's not forget about the planning and assessment. There's just so much planning and so detailed planning and so much assessment which is required that, that this process, I've seen customers, my own customers, going to public cloud, any other public cloud or native cloud, really were running duplicate environments and were doing planning and assessment in such a depth phase that this time was approximately lasted for about year and a half. Now, imagine the cost that you have incurred, during this 1.5 years time. It is just huge. So what VMware has brought is basically we've reduced this migration cost bubble. And what we've done is we've created something called distraction risk. The key advantages are, of course, great amount of infrastructure saving. And today your staff has become more productive. Instead of rather than planning an assessment of of moving those applications to cloud, today they can focus more on the day-to-day IT process. What that in turn means is today your IT can move probably as fast as your business demands. Your legacy wise, if you look at it, your business has always been moving much faster than your IT can support your business. But today we can keep that pace with VMware Cloud on AWS. How that is possible is with this magic protocol that we have created called Hybrid Cloud Extension, or what we call HCX, a short acronym. Now, HCX protocol is the one which is basically responsible for migrating any workload that you have on-premise, cloud ready, cloud native, in production, off production, whatever. I can pick up that workload and I can migrate to the cloud and retain everything. If I want to change the IP address, I change the IP address. If I want to retain the IP address, I retain the IP address. So whatever you want to do, that is possible today. And it is that simple. Just few mouse clicks and I have personally migrated thousands and thousands of VMs, with this protocol. And this is a very, very reliable protocol. Now, this protocol is bundled into the overall solution. So you don't have to pay extra for this protocol either. So imagine the amount of cost saving that that VMware brings to the table along with that. So practically, if you ask me, I remember a time when a customer asked me, what is a bottleneck for you? If you have such a magical technology, what is the bottleneck? And I often say the only bottleneck, sir, is the WAN capacity, or the WAN WAN amount of WAN that you can spare or give me to migrate from on-premise to on cloud. That's the only bottleneck for me, honestly. And to reduce that further, what we have done is we've taken the source code from one of our leading WAN optimization organization in Gartner leader quadrant. We've taken the source code from there and we've installed that in the HCX protocol itself. That means today your WAN capacity is also not a bottleneck for me. I can, because the data traffic is predictable sort of traffic, I can migrate the data payloads from on-prem to on-cloud with WAN optimized. What that means is I can further go ahead and reduce your overall WAN capacity by 60 to 70%. And all of this is pre-bundled into the solution. So you don't have to pay extra for that. Isn't that amazing? Now that's just a food for thought. And I request you all to please post your comments on the chat panel. Amit is there. My colleague Amit is there to help us out with that. But please do that. Let's do a little deep dive on this overall offering per se. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the top left-hand corner, and let me see if I can innovate here. That will be much simpler. Yeah, okay. So imagine your scenario, your data center to be right here on the top left corner. Now, as promised, we have multiple networking options. I can use a native construct of AWS to connect, called Direct Connect, to my VMC, or I can use internet. Now, in both these scenarios, I can encrypt the traffic. That means data during transit is always encrypted with VMware Cloud on AWS. Now, we have multiple options while migrating your traffic. Also, we can do ECMP. If you have multiple service providers, I can do equal cost multipathing across multiple service providers. Also, I can do that. I have that capability. Now, this basically is your VMware Cloud on AWS. This entire thing is VMware Cloud on AWS. When your traffic actually lands into VMware Cloud on AWS, it lands on a construct, a logical construct called T0 router. Now, this is all NSX construct, the software-defined networking. I'm sorry about my handwriting. My handwriting is really bad, so please pardon there. Now, it lands on a T0 router. Now, this, like I said, this is an NSX construct, a logical construct, which has got its own pre-built into a firewall. This is a full stateful firewall. So for all north-south traffic, which is entering your VMware Cloud on AWS, can be filtered. Can be filtered with this firewall. Furthermore, the traffic is then divided into two parts. The two T1 routers or Tier 1 routers that we call. One is dedicated for the management. Now, I'll talk about this management here just for a second. this management part is the part where you have all your vSAN manager, for example, your NSX manager, all the management components to run your VMC console. All of them reside here on this management plane. And VMware will basically upgrade, patch, whatever it needs to do, VMware will patch it for you, upgrade it for you. All of this is also pre-bundled into the solution. What that means is today, because of I'm sure most of us have already faced this sort of issue when they installed certain patch or upgraded certain operating system or upgraded certain equipment in the data center. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and what that happens is you have a data center down or server down or application down sort of scenarios. To get away from all of that, VMware will do the patch management of the entire management console. And as a customer, we give restricted sort of access to our customer, a read-only sort of access. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the CGW, that another NSX construct called Tier 1 router. This has also got its own beautiful NSX firewall, full-featured firewall, full stateful firewall that we have. This is where your VMs will reside. And your all your VMs in your compute segment will also be protected by their own individual firewalls on the kernel level, micro-segmented, true micro-segmented firewalls that we have per se between the VMs or your containers or whatever you. Now that's the capability that we have trying to build into. We have built into the solution. Furthermore, if you remember, I emphasized a lot on access to native AWS services, right? Now, what VMC does primarily has a dedicated ENI connection. Now, what that means is basically a dedicated ENI 25 gig connection for every customer. It is basically dedicated, it's not shared. Nothing in VMware VMC environment is shared. Everything is dedicated for you to be used. Now, if you want to use Lambda, IoT, RDS sort of features, your VMs can actually use this. They can use this ENI. They don't have to go via internet. That means you get LAN-like speed to access any native AWS construct. And for example, let's say this VMC and this, whatever native components that you have on AWS, both of them reside in the same AZ. There is zero ingress or zero egress cost between the AZs, between the for the data transfer charges. Zero cost. That's the beauty. And today, because why we have done that is because we have understood the 80-20 rule. Long time back when I started up my career, we used to have that 80-20 rule wherein we should say 20% of the traffic will be east-west traffic within the data center, and 80% will be north-south traffic. Today that has changed because of micro-segmentation, because we have divided the application into business logics or microservices. Today, most of the traffic is east-west traffic, and only 20% of the traffic actually exits out of your data center. For that reason, only we have developed this sort of offering for you. Let me remove this. Look, again, I can't reiterate enough that VMware will basically manage the entire VMC or VMware Cloud on AWS infrastructure for you. What that means is everything from the real estate, facilities, power, networking, till the hypervisor layer. Whatever you see on the left-hand side, which you manage, having your on-premise data center, everything will be managed by VMware Cloud on AWS for you. And what you get is the same sort of agility that you get on a data center environment on VMware Cloud on AWS. And what you get is just a beautiful environment where you can just go ahead and deploy your VMs and run your applications. That's all what you have to manage. This is the application, the operating system, and the virtual VMs part is the only thing that you have to manage. Everything else is managed, operated, and and supported by VMware for you completely, self-owned. Now, what happens if let's say we take up some service? Because if you remember, in the initial stages of my presentation, I said they're basically bare metal servers upon which we are running our vSphere, vSAN, and NSX feature. Now, let's say because of some reason, so what VMware does primarily is basically VMware manages or keeps looking at your CPU, overall CPU, memory, and storage sort of requirement. let's take a base scenario where you have your VMs consume more memory or have CPUs. There is a CPU spike or a memory spike or a storage spike in the cluster. What happens is basically if let's say there is a CPU or memory spike, what VMware will do is VMware will add another host to your cluster. No, we are not just adding the host, but making sure that this host is a part of your cluster. Therefore, what you can do is you can have a DRS, which is in balanced mode. And as and when the CPU or the memory goes to normal threshold or returns to normal threshold, we remove this newly added host from your cluster completely. Now, all of this is a very, very, very automatic process. No manual intervention whatsoever required from your end. That's the power of EDRS, or what we call elastic DRS, into your network. Take another scenario. Let's say you are running some servers, and after all, they're hardware, right? Any hardware can go down because of, let's say, power or any other issue. For example, let's take power for that matter, or hardware issues. Let's say one of the server actually goes down. Now I have my VM which is running on that server. So what do? What I do, what VMware does is basically it identifies a problem very, very quickly. In sub-second, basically, we identify the problem. We add another host to your cluster. We migrate the VM from that bad host to the new host, and we remove the bad host from your network and add this new host to your network. Again, this is a very, very, very automatic process. No manual intervention whatsoever required from your end. Now, this service is basically launched practically, you can see on the screen. It's available everywhere in India, and it was everywhere in the globe, I'm sorry. And in India, we launched this service in Q2 2019, if my memory serves me correctly. Ever since then, we've had a major success, in this in VMware Cloud on AWS, because really, we have made cloud migrations as simple as just a few mouse clicks. That's it. That's all what it takes. Now, what is in it for you? This is basically a summary chart of what I've been talking about thus far in my slide. So if you look at your entire lifecycle management, today your local teams are practically engaged into that entire lifecycle management process. Now, with VMware Cloud on AWS, everything will be offloaded to VMware. VMware will actually do it for you. And what that means is basically, application go live time, when it was 4 to 8 months on premise, I can do it in less than a month. For you, application go live time. You tell me any application I can migrate, or I can make that application go live in less than a month. That has resulted into a significant downtime in day one and day two SLAs. I can bring up an HDDC, or software defined data center, for you anywhere around the globe in less than 2 hours. And if you want, I can add another host to your cluster in less than 10 minutes. That's all what it takes. And because of this beautiful features of EDRS and automatic host remediation failures checks, what we've been able to deliver is a consistent 99.9% guaranteed uptime across all your workloads. No conditions applied, no asterisks, nothing. We also have a technology wherein we can even further increase that SLA to 99.99%. We call it stretch cluster. So what we do is, on the same region, let's say Mumbai region, I stretch some of your key critical applications to, let's say, from one AZ to another AZ also. What we've been able to achieve with that is 99.99% guaranteed uptime, wherein we stretch your vSAN or your vSphere clusters across AZs, your storage across AZs, and your network across AZ. That means practically you don't have to do anything in case one of your workloads or your primary AZ goes down, or availability zone goes down. Your application is still available to you, and with which what we are able to give you is a 99.9% uptime, guaranteed uptime. And today, unlike your on-premise data centers where you have to have additional host, just server one kept around, so that in case one of your cluster goes down, or one of your servers in your cluster goes down, you can basically add this new server to that cluster. You don't have to do that. VMware will do it automatically for you with no extra cost. So that's the beauty of all of this solution. And just to again to put up the key differentiators that we have is operational consistency. I can't emphasize enough. It is tough for us to learn new platforms and then be expert on those platforms. Because if you migrate to a public cloud, your teams, you would expect your teams to be absolutely expert on those, and that expertise comes with due time. It cannot be on day one, right? Uh, you know, VMware offers you same sort of operational consistency across from on-prem to on-cloud. Uh, Migrations have never been that easy. Today, I can migrate the applications without no conversions whatsoever, without no re-architecture, no re-IP, no re-MAC, no re-host name. Also, I can migrate the same applications to the cloud, be it cloud native applications or non-cloud native applications. It doesn't matter to me. I don't have that differentiation anymore. And what we have done is we've created a sort of zero trust security model. In which data during transit is encrypted, it is intercepted by multiple levels of firewalls, and data at rest also in VMC is encrypted by FIPS 140-275. What we've primarily done is, the storage on the vSAN is encrypted by AWS KMS, the key management system. If you want, you can provide a key from, you can take up a key from, from native AWS, or if you want, you can create your own key. You can install that key on AWS KMS, and you can encrypt your data accordingly. So all your data is encrypted with FIPS 140-2 compliances on day one. So that way we're 100% compliance. Again, what that primarily means is, we have reduced the complexity and the risk for the overall migration of your data centers, and we've reduced the cost as well. If you look at the cost of migration of your application, that is huge. I can do it today. Your local IT teams will be able to do it. You don't require a lot of expertise to migrate your applications to the cloud. That's the level of a reduction of cost that we are trying to bring to the table. And again, the entire lifecycle management will be managed and operated by VMware for you directly. You don't have to worry about anything from the management point of view. From the industry certifications, practically we have all industry certifications. You have ISOs, we have SOC 1, 2, and 3. Again, I like to reiterate, it's SOC 1 and Type 2 is basically Type 2 certifications that we have. We have our GDPR compliances as well, and we are HIPAA compliance also. We also have a CSA compliances as well. Having said that, this VMware Cloud on AWS comes with a very flexible consumption model. So, for example, let's say you come to us and say that we have we want a data, we have a sudden spike in a data center, and you only want VMware Cloud on AWS sort of environment in a data center extension sort of environment for, let's say, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, for example. We can offer you that also, because this comes with hourly on demand and hourly billing. We can also go to monthly billing as well for you. We have our 1 year or 3 year reserve instance also. We have our own marketplace from where you can buy additional services if you want to. You can buy them. If you have your existing HPP or SPP VMware credits, you can use that for purchasing VMC as a service. We have classic, purchase order, mechanism as well. Unfortunately, the credit card option was not available in India till as we speak, but it's coming up. Having said that, that reminds me of a beautiful point. Now, if you talk to any OEM, and if you ask them about their roadmap, the roadmaps of every OEM is kept very secretive, and it's not exposed to general public. VMware Cloud on AWS is the only solution that I know of, honestly, whose roadmap is actually public. So if you do a Google search on VMC or VMware Cloud on AWS roadmap, the first probably the hit that you get is the roadmap, which is publicly available. So you can actually see what new features we are coming up with. You can put in your feature request as well, if you like. So that's the kind of openness, that's the kind of transparency that VMware is trying to build into the environment. And if you are an existing customer, which VMware, VMware appreciates a lot, we have great hybrid loyalty programs, which we can offer to you. With that, that brings me to the end of our presentation. I thank you all for listening to me out. Amit, do we have any questions in the panel? I'm sorry, I can't see the chat panel. So
Yeah, Vikram, first of all, congratulations, a great presentation. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm
thank you.
sure so as the clients. Yeah, I could see a lot of questions coming on it, and that's a great thing. So the first question I would want to take that while performing upgrade or patching, how downtime is managed?
That's a great question. So what we have done is while performing upgrade or patch management, how downtime is. So are you talking about the on-premise the management part or the compute part? The upgrades on either of them.
So I think what I could
Which
really understand out of this question is once you are on VMC and let's say if
Mhm,
there are any patches or something which needs to be taken
mhm.
care, so
Okay,
how is
okay, the
downtime managed?
management part. Okay, so there is no downtime. What we do is basically the entire. So if you look at the vSAN, the NSX manager, the management component that I was trying to show in my network architecture diagram, that those components primarily, as a customer, you're given read-only access. And VMware, there's a specific team in VMware which is called SRE team, which actually goes ahead and manages, which actually does a performance testing first of all those patches and all those upgrades that bound to happen. And only then, once everything is successful there, only then those changes are replicated to your network. Now, having said that, VMware Cloud on AWS has a release cycle of 3 months. So almost on a quarterly basis, you will see an upgrade which is offered to you. And you run 1+ generation ahead of what is available on-prem. So practically speaking, you don't require a reboot. VMware manages all the patches or the upgrades in such a fashion that your environment does not require a reboot at all. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that answers. And I think he was more, he was more worried on the management point of view that whether it is easy to manage or something of that sort. I think you answered it.
Okay.
I would request all the participants to please place your questions now, since we are almost in a Q&A session now, and when we have around 30 minutes, and we can really take up all the questions and answer it on time. The second question I would want to take is, that is regarding the cost. So how VMC is cost-effective solution, including license cost? That's
That's a
also
great
another.
question.
Yeah.
So VMware, so if I'll take an example of Microsoft. Now, Microsoft and VMware have come together to launch its own cloud license scheme also. So if you want to move to cloud, we can offer you licenses. VMware can offer you licenses on a very, very discounted rate from Microsoft because we have a SPLA. Another thing is, VMware offers you the kind of migration cost journey that you take, which I've tried to highlight in my slide. VMware reduces it to a matter of days or weeks, so you don't run duplicate environments. You don't spend money on hiring specialized resources who can basically convert those applications to cloud. And then again the whole pre-prod environment that you need to create to make that to make an application cloud ready. So we save a lot of cost on that. Moreover, every every VMC, host is basically highly scalable, and we can. So unlike a traditional public cloud environment where you're bounded with a fixed T-shirt sort of size, when, for example, you have 2 vCPU and 4 GB RAM, right? And then the next option you have is, let's say, 8 vCPU or 4 vCPU with 6 GB RAM. What if my application requires 3 vCPU and 4 GB RAM or 2 GB RAM? You will again have to go to a higher version, to a higher T-shirt size. VMware offers you a great flexibility because you can choose your own T-shirt size as per your applications. So you're not bounded by that sort of environment either. Another thing is, all of from the performance point of view, we offer you all NVMe flash drives. That means today your applications are not just cloud ready with VMC environment, plus also they perform exceptionally well, extremely high IOPS that you can expect from a non-volatile sort of memory, all NVMe flash drive that we have. I'm sorry, Amit. Yeah, Amit.
Yeah, just allow
Guys,
me to
can you hear
check
me?
once.
Sure.
Let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, Vikram, sorry, I was on mute. I was saying that
Oh,
I think there is some network challenge at your end. Your voice was cracking in between, so
okay.
I hope it is good
Sorry.
now.
I can you hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me okay?
Vikram, can you hear me?
Amit, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I think there is some challenge. No, it is
Okay.
not.
Oh, I'm sorry then. Is it better now? Is it better now?
I think there was little crack in between, but I think it is going good now. So I'll take up the next
Okay.
question.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second, I think yeah, it is little better. Yeah.
Okay.
Seems
Amit,
a lot of latency, I guess. Okay, so I'll take up the next question, Vikram. So what kind of security you provide for pharma, as pharma has different kind of compliance which meet FDA and country specific?
okay. So again, we provide you data localization, number one. Number two, data during transit is encrypted. If you want to have a specialized IPS, IDS firewall, also, a next generation firewall as a part of your compliance, we can incorporate that as well. Data during data at rest is also encrypted. Data during VM to VM sort of communication or VM to container sort of communication is also protected by its own firewall. So from the compliances point of view, we offer all compliances that any customer, be it pharma or be it banking. We have our customers, banking customers also running on this environment. We have few customers from pharma as well. So we meet all the compliances, Mohit.
Yeah, hi, yeah. I can see there are a few hands raised up. Mr. Sanjeev Tyagi, Mr. Syed, and Mr. Gaurav Purohit. I would request
Okay,
organizers to check if they have any questions.
sure,
I hope organizers team can check it.
sure.
So
Mohit, can
I'll
you hear me better now? Can you hear me good? I mean, is my
yeah,
voice audible?
I
I can
can.
also hear you now. I can hear
Okay,
you,
okay,
Vikram. I'm back.
okay.
Okay, there is another question from Mr. Bhatia. He's asking, is there option of encryption data stored in the storage with option of managing the encryption key by the user?
Yes. Answer is yes, and this is something that I covered in my presentation. But Mr. Bhatia, so basically, your data is encrypted on the vSAN. Data at rest is encrypted by its by AWS key management system. If you want, you can have an automated key from AWS, or if you want to have your own key, you can import your own key on the KMS and encrypt your data at rest in the VMC at your own will. You can do that. So both the options are available, sir. It's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. Anything else, Amit?
So I have another question from Mr. Syed. He's asking how cost is related to increasing database size. So if the size goes up on the storage front, is the cost also goes up?
So, Mr. Syed, that's a wonderful question. Now, see, when we designed the network,
Vikram,
one
I'm
of our
losing
key
you. Hello.
tasks. Yeah, I'm speaking. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you're audible.
Now,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. So basically, Amit, I think it's your connection, not mine. but
Oh, okay.
the thing is, so I'm sorry, Amit, could you repeat that question one more time? I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
Completely. Yeah, sorry. Amit?
Vikram, we have a question from Mr. Gaurav Purohit. How VMC differs from legacy DC environment as we get these features like
Yeah, the
scalability and
question is how cost is related to increase in database size.
Right, right. So, let me answer this question first. So,
Can you hear me
as a
now?
solution architect, yes, Amit, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. So, see, cost. See, of course, the cost is directly proportional to the amount of space that you require on the cloud, no doubt about it. But then, having said that, we on AWS, because of the beautiful vSAN feature that we have, we can do dedupe and compression of your data, during when it's running on the VMware cloud on AWS. So what we do is we accordingly, or we can, that is number one option for us to reduce your overall data usage on the cloud. Plus, what we can do is, like I said earlier, we can integrate with any of the native services. So, for example, what if there's a huge database and what I do is I can transfer the data to Amazon ARDS, for example, and I can incorporate that RDS with my VMC environment. So basically, the whole idea. So the whole idea behind solution architecture or solution engineering on the cloud is to reduce the cost for our customers. That is our number one priority. And of course, having said that, the performance should not impact at all. That's our number one priority, and we have multiple ways to do that. We have multiple ways, so we can probably get into a deeper down discussion with you, Mr. Syed, post this webinar. Any other questions, sir?
Yes. Yeah, I could see some more questions. So am I audible now?
Yes, Amit, you're audible.
Oh, good. No, good. So there are a lot of questions been flowing in, and one very interesting question I could really see is, and I think that is very relevant in current time, is what are the business continuity solutions VMware is offering to help customers amid COVID-19? So one is, VMC is one piece of it, and how is it really helping from a business continuity perspective? I know you have covered it, something you have, but still, if you want to touch upon.
Sure, absolutely. And Amit, I'd like you to probably answer this question also, with me. So what VMC offers you is a capability where you can extend your data centers. Number one, yes. We also have our Horizon portfolio, a sort of virtualization of applications or desktops. Now we have a very beautiful use case where we can run Horizon on VMware Cloud on AWS and scale it massively, scale it on not just on one cloud but also multi-cloud also if you want to. So we have a beautiful environment in that sort. Now VMware on cloud offers you infrastructure migration risk also, basically, the risk I was talking about, where we can provide you a proactive DR sort of scenario also for this sort of environment, for business continuity environment. And also the infrastructure supply chain that I think Amit was also talking about in the, when before my presentation, Amit was talking about infrastructure supply chain and maintenance disruption. So we can basically avoid all of that with VMware Cloud on AWS. So I think these are few of them which are there on top of my head. Anything else you'd like to add, Amit?
Yeah, so I think VMware has got a complete portfolio of a business continuity solution. So be it Horizon from a VDI perspective, be it their site recovery manager on any application, any operating system on VMware hypervisor, it can do a complete management from a DC to DR, even managing your RPO, RTO completely, having a complete visibility and monitoring of it, and even helping you to transition from your failed DC setup to a revoked DR setup and vice versa. So VMware has got a complete end-to-end solution to manage the complete business continuity. And I think the VMC what we saw today is probably a great thing to really have it as a new technology, as absolutely relevant in current times. But still, we have a lot of legacy options available for the customers who even doesn't want to opt for VMC for whatever XYZ reason, but still, if they are deployed with VMware, there are so many solutions available.
Correct. So, and with VMC, one more point that I'd like to add with what Amit said. With VMC, I can offer you probably, for a cold DR, I can offer you probably as low as 4 hours of RPO. And if you want a hot DR, I can offer you as low as 0 RPO if I have to, or 5 minutes of RPO. I can offer you that sort of solution as well. This is what makes VMC such an agile environment to fit every and all customers across all platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question, Vikram, which is there is, since it's a complete solution led by VMware, and VMware is owning the complete data protection, but because we have got VMware and AWS together, so who takes the ownership of the client data?
VMware. VMware takes the ownership completely. Yeah.
Okay, so despite they are being deployed on AWS and using all the services of AWS, despite that, VMware is the one who's gonna own the complete setup and the data.
Correct.
Okay, that's
and VMware will provide you with the entire end-to-end tax support also. So as a matter of fact, once you log into VMware Cloud on AWS console, the first option that you see is probably you can go down there and you just click on help button, and there'll be people, not chatbots, but actual live people to help you out right there. They can also open up a tag case for you if needed. So if you want an help immediately, you have 1 minute of help away from you. Just a 2 mouse clicks away. That's it, 2 mouse clicks away. The help is available to you, and from VMware, resources, dedicated VMware resources, not chatbots. Yeah.
Okay. Gaurav has another question, which he's asking that how VMC differ from legacy DC environment, as we can get these features like scalability and adaptive optimization by using SSD storage along with VMware environment. So how is VMC making an absolute difference out of it?
So that's a great question. So compare your existing environment. So if you look at your existing environments, again, I was talking about the SLAs or keeping additional host in a cluster available to you at all times in case one of these servers goes down, or the entire lifecycle management, or for that matter, the entire operating cost for networking, storage, and disk failures. You'll have to keep all of that. Yes, you can do all of that. The point is, if you decide to take a cloud journey, you want a cloud partner who can offer you that sort of agility. And VMware is the only one who can offer you that sort of agility today, that I can practically take complete headache of yours from managing the entire infrastructure by yourself. And VMware will manage it for you. And what VMware is offering you is a beautiful platform where you can just go ahead and deploy your applications. You'll be more bothered about your day-to-day applications, or probably, like I said earlier, your business starts moving, or your IT, starts moving as fast as your business needs with VMware Cloud on AWS, which is definitely not possible, in on-premise environment. If you look at it, I've worked in an on-premise environment for most of my life, and I've worked in operations as well. Prior to this, I worked in day-to-day operations for an organization as well. Believe me, that day-to-day operational activity requires a lot of manpower. You don't have to be bothered about that at all. That's the beauty of cloud that cloud is offering. Take another example, sir. You want to build up an SDDC in, let's say, US or Australia or Singapore. What is a timeline? What is a timeline that you want for that sort of SDDC to be built up? I can build up for you in less than 2 hours, sir. That's all. And if you want to procure a new host in, let's say, a remote data center, how long does it take? We can do it for you in less than 10 minutes. That's it. That's all. So Yeah, that's the agility and that's the power that VMware on VMware Cloud on AWS is offering.
Great going, Vikram. I think we are having all these positive answers to all of these questions. Still two more questions I would want to take, and these are some
Please.
interesting ones. They say that does VMC support any T-shirt size for the VM, or it is bound like AWS or Azure?
Great question. Thank you. No, answer is no. You can have invariable amount of T-shirt size. For that matter, the PV CPU to CPU also. On a cloud environment that is fixed. What if I have a dev sort of environment? What if I want to do 1:8 vCPU for that matter? Can I do that on a cloud environment? No. But VMware Cloud on AWS offers you that sort of capability as well. So you can further go ahead and further divide your CPUs or your RAM as and what you need. I need 5 vCPU, 1 GB RAM. Tell me if that sort of combination is available anywhere on the cloud. Anywhere. VMware offers you that sort of capability as well. So you have no your workloads, your needs are not bounded, or rather, you don't have that golden handcuff that you can only operate in certain boundaries. You are free to do what you want. That's a key USP that we have, with VMware Cloud on AWS. And this, by the way, this is a very, very scalable, environment. I'm sorry, I'll just take 1 minute, Amit. I'm sorry. Just a thought cropped up in my mind, and I want to share it with the audience. Now, imagine, this VMware Cloud on AWS is a very, very scalable sort of environment. You can start up with, let's say, 2 hosts in a cluster. Minimum is 2 hosts in a cluster, and I will do the RAID configuration also for you. I will put up a witness node in an EBS. I will not charge you for that. That's there. I can scale that cluster all the way to, let's say, 16 hosts in one cluster. Likewise, I can have up to 20 clusters in one SDDC. And likewise, I can have 2 SDDCs per customer. Now, these are all soft numbers. I can go back to my product team and I can get it increased anytime I want, or anytime you want, rather. So this is the amount of scalable environment that we have today with VMware Cloud on AWS. Just the scalability I wanted to share. That's all, Amit. Thank you.
Okay, so another good question, because this is how the nimbleness everybody looks for in any of the cloud provider, is when do charge for VMware Cloud on AWS service start and stop?
So that's a great question. So when we start up an SDDC, so for example, when you start up an SDDC, that's when you start getting charged. Now, VMware Cloud or VMware Cloud on AWS offers you a very fixed sort of billing model. It's not an invariable sort of billing model. It's a very predictable sort of billing model that we have, which is very, very lucrative to most of our customers. You can have, on a public cloud provider, you can have X amount of bill on let's say 1 month, on 1 month, and this and X into 1,000 on the second month also. That does not happen in VMware Cloud on AWS. It's a very, very fixed sort of billing model that we have, depending on, if you remember my last slide, or rather the second last slide, wherein I talked about the RI instance, the reserve instance for 1 year or 3 years, or on demand, or hourly basis, or on monthly basis that we have. So it's a very fixed sort of billing model that we have. It's not a invariable sort of billing model like most of our competitors.
So one question from my side, Vikram, and this is on behalf of my clients and all of the participants here.
Sure.
Is there any special offer for the BCP that VMware Cloud on AWS is offering to their customers?
Yes, there is. And I'm not the right person to talk about that because I'm from the technology team. But please, I would request you to engage your account managers from VMware to have that discussion. There are wonderful schemes which are going on right now. Yes. Thank you for asking that question. I'm sorry to give such an answer, but because I'm from the technology team, I hope, Amit, you understand.
No, certainly I can, but good thing is that at least there are offers, and certainly I would request all of the participants, all of our clients, to kindly engage with your account managers, with VMware or our account managers, Tech9 account managers, kindly engage. I think a lot of question answers have really happened, and I'm sure that would have given a great clarity around the solution, the nimbleness, the flexibility, the scalability. Probably, one of the best solution what probably I can look in the current times and even post COVID, in terms of the data center extension or evacuation kind of a situation, or ensuring that the remote workforce and remote management continues without any disruption, without much of a hassle. So I think it was a very great session, Vikram. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a very eye-opening as well on lot many hassles what most of the administrators and operations and even CIOs struggle like crazy in their environment at times to really cope up with the situations like this. So I think it was a very nice session and very informative and insightful session. To everyone, I just want to request, in case if you have any questions, any last question in case if you want us to take. Else I think we are all done. Please do engage with the account managers and let us know. Just write back to us in case if you want to write back to me directly. You can take my email ID. Probably I can put it in the chat in case required. Just a second. Yes. Oh, this has only gone to the. So organizers, I think it has gone to you. So probably you can put this in the open, this thing, so that anything which. Okay,
No,
yeah. So it is now.
Sorry. Yeah.
So I think thank you so much. Thanks, Vikram, for a great insightful session. Any last word you want to have from your side?
There's a question. Is there any POC that can be done with Tech9 regarding VMC? Yes, sir. Please. Again, I would request you to please engage the account managers from either Tech9 or VMware side, and we can definitely do that. We can do a live demo or POC, whatever can help. We'll be more than happy to do that. And I would request you all to please fill in the survey forms. That's probably going to be. Can we show them right now, or the organizer? I'm talking to the webinar response.
Vikram, it is gone to them as part of their post logout.
Okay. So please, I do humbly urge you to go ahead and fill that survey form. That will help us to improve, the quality of the material that we deliver. Along with that, it will also give us a fair bit of idea where you are on your cloud journey, and together, Amit and I can basically, come together and probably help you with your with the cloud journeys, and make it much simpler. That's it from my side. Thank you all. Amit, any last words?
No, I think I have made many words. So thank you so much, Vikram, and thanks all of you. Thanks for the time, and I think it was very nice to have it and sum it up everything within the timeline. So thank you all of our valued customers, and we will come back with more exciting webinars and virtual meetings. That's what the options we are left out with. And do reach out to us in any case you want to have some questions, queries, or maybe any sort of solution areas where you think that it is relevant for you at this time. We are all there, and whatever is required from our side from a technology perspective or maybe consulting perspective, we are just waiting for you. Thank you so much. Ashweta, over to you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Vikram. With that, we can close the session. And any queries, etc., you can write back to us. We will get them answered, responded. Thank you. Nice day ahead.
Thank you.